Robert Galua. Some of the main stories in the week ending. President Chakwera confirms Malawi's readiness to contribute to the regional military force to be deployed in Mozambique. Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda challenges newly sworn-in May commissioners on electoral management. Parliament passes the 1.995 trillion kwacha budget for 2021-2022 fiscal year. And in agribusiness, ministry sets aside 1.1 billion kwacha for AIP for livestock distribution exercise. Stay with us, we've got these and many more. President Lazarus Chakwera this week affirmed the Malawi is prepared to contribute to the regional military force to be deployed in Mozambique to help combat terrorist attacks in Cabo Delgado province. The president spoke on Thursday on arrival from Mozambique, where he went to attend the 40th SADC Extraordinary Summit for Heads of State, where a resolution to adopt a regional military force was passed. In addition to security matters, the meeting also touched on issues to do with regional food and nutritional regional integration, on trade and development. We have this report by Chimwemwe Padata.
President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera has just arrived from Maputo, Mozambique, where he was attending the 14th Summit of Heads of State of SADC. The summit took place amid an uproar that Mozambique should make a decision to deploy militants in the Cabo Delgado province, which is found in the northern part of Mozambique. But a decision has now been adopted at this summit that the regional bloc should now deploy militants to Mozambique. But the president for Mozambique, Filipe Nyusi, has been reluctant to adopt this decision. But the heads of state have now adopted this decision, and the president, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, said upon arrival from Mozambique that Malawi is still configuring the number of soldiers that would form part of this regional military bloc, as well as making sure that Malawi is thoroughly prepared for this exercise that will take place now that the member states are supposed to deploy militants to Mozambique. We understand that Cabo Delgado is one of the provinces that is facing attacks, beheadings, as well as conflicts that has displaced close to 800 people, and 3,000 people have so far been killed. The conference was ignited in around 2010, where after the discovery of natural gas, and now the conflict has raised concerns that it might spill over to neighboring countries such as Malawi, and a decision has now been made. Another thing that the president has also mentioned on his arrival, he did say that Malawi should use the forthcoming SADC meeting that is expected to take place in August, where he will also assume chairmanship of the regional bloc, to use this platform to sell itself to regional members in SADC, to boost the tourism industry in trade, making sure that Malawi is wooing investors, that Malawi can also boost its economy in Malawi can also boost its economy in the tourism sector, as well as different sectors and trade, talking about trade in other areas. And now the president has just left Kamuzu International Airport, where he has arrived at around 11 a.m. today. From Kamuzu International Airport in Lilongwe, this is Chimwemwe Padata.
Still with the president, Chakwera, on Friday, he considered the need to change Malawi Communications and Regulatory Authority Macro Board following a report that they extravagantly spent millions of kwacha for a training conducted in Dubai. Speaking when launching the Malawi National Fiber Backbone Project Phase 2 in Lilongwe, the president cautioned that he would not tolerate any wasteful spending or finances by boards of government parastatals. We had this report by Winston Kaimira.
President Lazarus Chakwera has spoken on reports that the board of directors of the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority MACRA spent about 46 million kwacha for a training held in Dubai. The president described such spending as a waste of resources, which he said his government does not tolerate. He said this calls for change of leadership of the board.
The board chair of MACRA could not find a more cost-effective way of enhancing the capacity of board members than taking them to Dubai and blowing millions is a clear sign that the leadership MACRA board needs to change immediately. If you want Diera Malawi. The place to do that is not in my administration. Is for servants, not masters.
On the launch of the second phase of the Malawi National Fiber Backbone Project, President Chakwera said the project fits perfectly into development plans of the Tonse Alliance government. He said the COVID-19 pandemic has compelled the world to go digital ways of working, and Malawi should not remain behind. The president commended Huawei for taking part in providing ICT training to the youth. Huawei Managing Director for Malawi, Benjamin Zhang, commended government for its efforts ensuring that the project is successful. This is Winston Kaimira reporting for Zodiak in Lilongwe.
Meanwhile, Minister of Information Gospel Kazako says improved internet connectivity shall assist the country to easily achieve development plans such as the Malawi 2063.
The world has changed. The world is different, and the world is completely recalibrated in a different manner. The world is now digital, and as you're moving forward, I can assure you that it will be even more digital than what we are now. As a country, we cannot afford to lag behind when our friends are actually moving forward. Now, this fiber backbone, as the name can refer, is actually the very backbone of digital activities. The fiber backbone will be able to assist people to communicate efficiently, timely, and of course affordably. Many things will change. You see, what we're doing now, we're still too slow as an economy. Sometimes you want to do something on net or very slow. But this fiber, once it is done, is going to create a lot of opportunities. Opportunities not only in just mail communication, but specific thematic areas of profitable communication. We are talking of e-agriculture. Very few people understand or know that any meaningful agricultural activity requires abundant presence of technology. Once this is done, you see what's going to happen. We're talking of e-commerce, e-health, e-banking, e-education, e-everything. The future is e.
Voters in Nkadabe Central Constituency, Nsanje Lalanje Ward and Chukwembere Ward in Blantyre will be going to the polls this Tuesday in a by-election to be administered by a commission which has some new faces. Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda on Monday challenged the newly appointed commissioners for Malawi Electoral Commission that presiding over elections is a great responsibility which can make or break a country's democracy. Biran Tambala has more.
Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda believes elections convey the will of the people attained through a firm, strong-minded and resilient electoral commission. He expressed hope that going forward, elections in the country will never turn out to be a courtroom spectacle as was experienced in recent past. He said this is attainable if commissioners stick to the oath that they make before God and people in discharging their duties. He advised that the responsibility the new MAKE commissioners have accepted demands that they respond to the will of the people, not political parties that they are selected from. He said if the electoral process is messed up, it creates confusion, anxiety among electorates, voter apathy in future elections, and costly to a nation. Speaking on behalf of the new commissioners, Dr. Emmanuel Fabiano promised to serve the nation with dignity deserved for such a position.
To abide by the Constitution, as has been said, and then we also have got the law that guides the Malawi Electoral Commission itself, which we have to observe and follow. And therefore, there is enough guidance that we need to use and follow as we conduct our business.
President Lazarus Chakwera appointed 4 new commissioners, namely Mr. Francis Kasaira, Dr. Fabiano, Ms. Caroline Fune, all from DBP, and Mr. Richard Chapweteka from Malawi Congress Party. All the commissioners except Mr. Kasaira, who is out of the country on official duties, have taken their oath of office. Piran Tambala, ZBS News, Lilongwe.
Meanwhile, a governance expert is suggesting complete overhaul in the process of appointing commissioners at the electoral body, arguing the process currently is subjected to political manipulation which affects management of electoral process. Christopher Sande gave us this report.
Thank you very much, Ivan. The executive director of Institute for Policy Interaction, says Malawians will only have confidence in the newly appointed commissioners and the entire body if the Electoral Commission walks the talk in the management of free, fair and credible polls. Rafik Hajat is of the view that there is need for transformation in the appointment of commissioners, insisting that the current procedures are subjected to abuse and waste of public resources.
Appointment or the method of appointing commissioners has to be revised. That's the first step. Checks and balances have to be put in place to prevent abuse of power and abuse of resources. So it needs a thorough overhaul from top to bottom.
Meanwhile, newly sworn-in Make Commissioner Dr. Emmanuel Fabiano told Zodiak on Tuesday in Blantyre that Malawians need to trust the commission despite the mess which occurred in 2019 presidential poll.
But the point that needs to be emphasized is that the Malawi Electoral Commission is important for Malawians, and therefore we must ensure that all Malawians uphold the trust that they have and should have.
Dr. Fabiano was speaking after presiding over the Trainer of Trainers workshop as MEC is preparing to conduct elections in Chikwembere Ward in Blantyre, Lalanje Ward in Nsanje, and Nkhata Bay Central constituency. During the swearing-in ceremony in Lilongwe on Monday, Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda asked the newly appointed commissioners to be professional in their work. Reporting for Zodiak, this is Christopher Sande.
The Tonse Alliance administration marked 1 year in office on June 23rd, with Malawians giving their assessment on how leaders in the new regime have performed. Commentators said the 1 year has been a mixed bag and want President Lazarus Chakwera to be decisive and responsive if the change he promised when he assumed office is to happen. Well, Human Rights Conservative Committee called for Tonse Alliance government to revisit its campaign promises of creating 1 million jobs, saying with the current economic situation in the country, it is not possible to achieve the feat within the specified period. The committee's board chair, Robert Mkwezalamba, made the remarks at a press briefing in Lilongwe, where they were reviewing key attainments of Tonse government in the past 12 months. He explains.
You need to clear the ground. You need to set up structures on the ground to be able to absorb and create more jobs. The Tonse administration has had more than 8 months trying to settle down, and they are just settling down, if we are to be fair, in terms of objective analysis. Now, in that regard, jobs are being created, but you realize majority of the jobs are from the previous administration projects and programs that were rolling out. The jobs for youth, the internship programs, the construction projects that are taking place may not have been initiated by the current administration. However, they have started rolling out their own programs, and you may not 100% be able to get the 1 million jobs in the remaining or the past gone 12 months. So we are saying realistic figures have to be drawn down. As a nation, we need to accept to say perhaps we had set the bar too far for ourselves. So let's set realistic targets that we can achieve, not maybe in 1 year, but at least 2 to 3 years from now, and then review the last year of administration. So to be fair, between 200,000 jobs to around 300 jobs should be attainable if all the fundamentals that have been put in place can be sustained in this new year that they are entering.
The Reserve Bank of Malawi, RBM, says about 1,000 employers have defaulted remittance of close to 27 billion kwacha in pension funds for their employees, with some companies and organizations defaulting for a period of 5 years. The financial regulator pounced on some companies in Blantyre and Limbe Township on Monday this week, where RBM Chief Examiner Paul Nyirenda said the defaulters have been issued with a 21-day ultimatum to clear their arrears or face litigation. Moving on, Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda has instituted a task force to accelerate the establishment of a financial crimes court, as directed by President Lazarus Chakwera in his State of National Address in May this year. Nyirenda told us that the task force of at least 5 arms of government, including Ministry of Justice, will hold consultations on best possible ways of formulating the court. We had this report by Steve Zimba.
Apart from the Ministry of Justice, Chief Justice has also engaged other judicial arms like the Anti-Corruption Bureau, which will be instrumental in establishing financial crimes court in the country. Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda is explaining the current status of the process.
We are in the formative stage on that issue, financial crimes courts. There will be consultations that will have to be undertaken amongst all stakeholder institutions, the Malawi Law Society, the Minister of Justice, Legal Aid, and other else institutions.
This follows overwhelming corruption-related cases where most of them remain unresolved in other formal courts. Minister of Justice Titus Mvaro says his office is committed to the cause and has assigned the Director of Public Prosecution to represent his office.
Financial Crimes Court is one of the areas which we want to accelerate. At the moment, I know that the Chief Justice has put together a task force consisting of 4 or 5 judges and 1 magistrate, and he asked me as Minister of Justice to also contribute 1 officer, and I've contributed the Director of Public Prosecution to be part of that task force.
In his State of the National Address of May 2021, President Lazarus Chakwera directed that Malawi should establish Financial Crimes Court to handle all corruption cases in the country. For Zodiak in Mzuzu, this is Steve Zimba reporting.
You're watching This Week in the News on Zodiac. We still have more to come. Stay with us.
Are you thinking of property investment in Malawi? Wait a minute. You mean you have never heard about Housing Investment and Development Cooperative, HIDICO? Come on, buy shares, be a member, and join investment-minded Malawians living all over the world. You can get affordable plots and build a house of your dream at your comfort. We offer housing loans to our members, modern house plans, construction services, and we have plots in several cities in the country. Have the opportunity to build a home in new upmarket residential areas developed by HIDICO. For inquiries, call 0992 020 745 or 0998 351 313. Don't miss the only chance to own a company that sorts out your housing and investment solutions. Join HIDICO today.
HIDICO, oh HIDICO, Housing Investment and Development Cooperative.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
This marriage is a punishment for you, and you are going to be suffering for the rest of your life.
I thought you'd married some supermodel. Who?
Narero, alipitireni GoTV Mosavuta. Just dial *247# to pay your GoTV or DSTV subscription. Standard Bank. It can be.
Kwagwanji mayunitsi ATM kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tikolole promotion. Koma mukaonjezera mayunitsi ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira mabonus oyimbira foni, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you.
Welcome back. The headlines as we continue with the edition of This Week in the News. Some MPs threatened to block passing of 2021-2022 national budget over provision of tax clearance certificate. Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda challenges newly sworn-in MEC commissioners on electoral management. Parliament passes the 1.995 trillion kwacha budget for 2021-2022 fiscal year. And in business, Malawi adds 19 megawatts of electricity to the national electricity grid. Moving on with the news. Turning to August House this week, members of Parliament on Wednesday approved the 2021-2022 national budget, paged at 1.995 trillion Malawi kwacha. Finance Minister said the budget was revised upwards with an addition of 5.5 billion kwacha upon considering proposals from various stakeholders and legislators. Chimwe Badata had this report.
Members of Parliament have passed the 2021-2022 national budget after adopting all 55 votes as they went into Committee of Supply, where they took a thorough scrutiny of recurrent and development estimates in the 2021-2022 national budget. A largest vote to various departments has gone to the National Local Government Finance Committee with an allocation of 336 billion kwacha, while votes that have gone to ministries have seen a largest share allocated to the Ministry of Agriculture with a vote of 223 billion kwacha, followed by the Ministry of Education that has received a vote of 75 billion kwacha. When passing the votes, some lawmakers complained of low allocations. For example, a vote under Malawi Defense Force received backlash from Zimba North parliamentarian Iremaji Hana, who asked Minister of Finance to consider increasing the 67.9 billion kwacha that has been allocated, citing the recurrent estimate is not enough for the procurement of live ammunitions. Another vote that took a lengthy scrutiny is that under the Department of Human Resource Management and Development, pegged at 27.6 billion kwacha. And one parliamentarian, Victor Musowa from Mulanje Bale, under this vote, asked the Minister of Finance if the 27.6 billion kwacha allocation will cover the recruitment of primary school teachers under EBIT 13 and 14. But Minister of Finance Felix Mlusu, in response, said recruitment of the teachers is under the World Bank. The budget was initially pegged at 1.99 trillion kwacha, but it was revised upwards to 1.995 trillion kwacha. From Parliament in Nilongwe, this is Chimwemwe Padata for Zodiak.
Still with the budget, Ministry of Agriculture says it will use 1.1 billion kwacha of the 142 billion allocated to the Affordable Inputs Program AIP in the national budget for a livestock distribution exercise. The ministry spokesperson Gretchen Lungu told Zodiac that about 30,000 farmers in the Lower Shire Valley Agriculture Development Division will be targeted for pilot phase of the exercise. In education, government announced this week that contracts for auxiliary teachers recruited in primary schools due to COVID-19 have been extended with 2 months. Ministry spokesperson Chikondi Chimala told Zodiac that government has provided funds to individual school management committees for the exercise. Rafael Mlozo with more.
In February this year, the Ministry of Education facilitated the recruitment of over 3,000 auxiliary teachers in primary schools that were hired by individual school management committees. The teachers were hired as part of the move to decongest periods in classrooms amid COVID-19 scare and were given a 5-month contract which will end this month end. Now government has announced that their contract will be extended by 2 months to end in August 2021, according to the Ministry of Education spokesperson Chikondi Chimala. However, Chimala failed to disclose the future of the teachers after expiry of the contract. Meanwhile, Teachers Union of Malawi President William Malimba said with COVID-19 cases rising, auxiliary teachers will be the only key way out.
It's very sad that the government has decided to add 2 months to auxiliary teachers instead of just recruiting them. Looking at this, you cannot understand because the cases of COVID-19 now are rising. So these auxiliary teachers, they are the teachers who can decongest classes. You know, one of the measures of the preventing this pandemic disease is to decongest classes.
Most of the teachers recruited were under EPT 13 program. For ZBS, this is Rafael Mlozo reporting.
And finally, police reported that they have impounded over 5,000 motorcycles since an exercise of confiscating and roadworthy motorcycles on the roads of Malawi was rolled out early this month. National Police spokesperson told Zodiak the exercise is ongoing and will not spare motorcycle taxi operators that will continue to defy the law. Chimombe Badata gave us this report.
Police managed to impound 5,000 motorcycles since rolling out the seizing of all unroadworthy motorcycles early this year. This is according to National Police spokesperson James Kadadzera, who now says impounding of motorcycles is an ongoing exercise. Kadadzera told Zodiak some motorcycle taxi operators have now managed to take back their motorcycles after payment of fines. Government directed that all motorcycles should now be registered and that taxi operators have licenses. But early this month, police were involved in running battles with motorcycle taxi operators in Nilongwe as they protested against the decision of registering their motorcycles, citing concerns of exorbitant charges. Kadadzera is now appealing to the operators to comply with the law. For Zodiac, this is Chimwemwe Badata.
Well, that's all we had time for in this edition of news, but a reminder of some top stories before we leave. Some MPs threatened to block passing of 2021-2022 national budget over provision of tax clearance. President Chakwera affirms Malawi's readiness to contribute to the regional military force to be deployed in Mozambique. Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda challenges newly sworn-in MEC commissioners on electoral management. Parliament passes the 1.995 trillion kwacha budget for 2021-2022 fiscal year. And in agribusiness, Ministry sets aside 1.1 billion kwacha for AIP for livestock distribution exercise. Visit our website, Zodiac, www.zodiacmalawi.com. You've been with me, Robert Karua.